In this session, we'll explore the main ideas from Techniques in Teaching Vocabulary by Virginia French Allen. The book reminds us that vocabulary teaching is not about presenting long lists of words. Instead, it's about engaging learners in purposeful activities. Activities that make vocabulary necessary, meaningful, and memorable. Allen's approach prepares students to become independent users of English, capable of learning new words on their own. 1. Vocabulary. Teaching is a critical and practical need. Allen begins by emphasizing that vocabulary teaching is both critical and practical. Her book was written for classroom teachers who need real, usable techniques, not abstract theories. In the mid-20th century, vocabulary was often overlooked in teacher training. Grammar dominated the classroom, and some specialists believed word meanings were too complex to teach. However, teachers have always known the truth. Communication fails when learners don't have the words they need. Allen's message is clear. Vocabulary deserves a central place in every language lesson. 2. Vocabulary acquisition must be driven by personal need. A key principle in Allen's approach is personal need. A word is learned best when the learner feels a real need to know it. If students learn words only to please the teacher or to pass an exam, those words are quickly forgotten. For example, when teaching names of classroom objects, students may already know these in their own language, so there's no urgency to learn them in English. To solve this, teachers should create activities that make those words necessary. Real communication tasks where learners must use English to exchange information, share opinions, or solve a problem. When vocabulary serves a purpose, it sticks. 3. Emphasize meaning and communicative use over presentation. Allen encourages teachers to model vocabulary learning after how children acquire their first language. Meaning comes first, then the word. Rather than spending too much time on presentation or repetition, teachers should move quickly to activities where students use new words in context. Exposure alone, hearing or reading a word, is not enough. Learning happens when students use the word meaningfully. Here are a few of Allen's suggested techniques. Use real objects or realia whenever possible. Support lessons with visual aids such as pictures, drawings, or classroom displays. Give physical commands, like go to the window or touch your head to connect words with action. And incorporate games and contests that make vocabulary part of achieving a goal. These strategies keep lessons dynamic, practical, and focused on communication. 4. Intermediate students need systematic study and social context. At the intermediate level, students' vocabulary knowledge becomes uneven. Some words are well known, others are missing. Allen suggests defining new words in simple English that students already understand, instead of translating into their first language. Learners' dictionaries are very useful for preparing these definitions. Students should also learn to organize words in categories. For example, furniture, weather, or occupations, to help them remember and retrieve vocabulary efficiently. Another important area is social meaning. Words carry cultural attitudes and feelings. Think about terms like family, breakfast, or school. These meanings aren't always found in dictionaries, so teachers can explore them through short stories, class discussions, or even exchanges with pen pals. 5. Advanced students must be taught independence. For advanced learners, the goal is independence. Students should be ready to read authentic texts and continue expanding their vocabulary beyond the classroom. Allen identifies 2 key skills: dictionary use and word structure analysis. First, students need to know how to use a dictionary effectively. Analyze the whole sentence before looking up a word. Identify the word's grammatical role: noun, verb, or adjective. Choose the meaning that fits the context. Recognize phrasal verbs, like get over or run into, and metaphorical uses, such as the head of a company. Second, students should study word formation, how prefixes, suffixes, and functional shifts create new words. For example, the word book can be both a noun and a verb. Understanding patterns like or ness helps learners decode thousands of words efficiently. 6. Vocabulary, selection, and testing require context. Finally, Alan reminds teachers that vocabulary selection and testing must always be contextual. Teachers should prioritize the most useful words, the ones students need to speak, write, and understand everyday English. Word lists alone are not enough, because language use and student needs constantly change. When testing vocabulary, Alan discourages mechanical exercises like matching synonyms. Instead, she recommends matching underlined words in a paragraph with their meanings, using cloze tests where students fill in missing words from context, and observing how students use English naturally in class activities. These approaches measure what really matters: the ability to understand and use vocabulary effectively in communication. In summary, Techniques in Teaching Vocabulary encourages us to rethink how we teach words. It's not about memorization, it's about motivation, context, and use. By helping learners need the words they learn, use them meaningfully, and discover them independently, we empower them to become confident, lifelong users of English.